And now we look at solving a system of equations using Cramer's rule. And this is where evaluating determinants finally comes into play with solving systems of equations. So step one is for us to evaluate the determinant using the coefficients of the variables. So we look at D is what we're calling the determinant, and the coefficients are 3, 1, 2, 3. And that's going to yield D equals 3 times 3 is 9. 2 times 1 is 2, so minus 2 equals 7. So there we've determined D. Now what we need to do is evaluate the determinant D sub x, and we use the constants in place of the x coefficients. So D sub x, so what are the coefficients on x? They're 3 and 2, and we want to replace those with the constants, -3 and 6. So it's the same thing as our first determinant, but we replace the 3 and the 2 with the constants, -3, 6, 1, 3. And that's going to yield D sub x equals -3 times 3 is -9, minus 6 times 1, and that equals -15. And now we evaluate the determinant D sub y. And we replace the constants for the coefficients on y instead of x. So D sub y equals, now we're going to use the same coefficients on x that we did in the first determinant, so 3 and 2, and we'll replace the coefficients on y, the 1 and the 3, we replace those with the constants now, with -3 and 6. So that yields D sub y equals 3 times 6 is 18, minus 2 times -3 is -6. So minus a negative becomes plus a positive. So 18 plus 6 is 24. So now we have D sub x and D sub y. And we want to find x is D sub x over D. So x equals D sub x over D, which equals -15 over 7. And y equals D sub y over D, which equals 24 divided by 7. And now we'll check our solutions. 3 times -15 over 7 plus 24 over 7. Does that equal -3? So 3 times -15, that's -45 divided by 7 plus 24 divided by 7. Does that equal -3? So -45 plus 24, that's -21 divided by 7. Does that equal -3? And yes, it does end up being -3 equals -3. So it checks in our first equation. Let's check in our second equation. Does 2 times -15 sevenths plus 3 times 24 sevenths, does that equal 6? So this is -30 sevenths, and this is 72 sevenths. Does that equal 6? Negative 30 plus 72 is 42 sevenths. Does that equal 6? And yes, 42 divided by 7 equals 6. So that checks as well. So our solution is x equals negative 15 sevenths and y equals 24 sevenths.